It's another world. It's like complete. It's just like, you know, someone who'll go playing an amateur footy to like just going straight to the AFL Grand Final sort of thing.
This is Chewing the Fat with Bevan Jones.
Well, g'day and welcome to another edition of Chewing the Fat. Bevo here, joined today by a driver from the Toyota 86 Racing Car Series. That is George Gutierrez. George is proudly sponsored by Plus IT. Speaking of sponsors, I better mention my new sponsor, Anytime Fitness down at Glenelg. Get on down there and get a membership. Great bunch of people down there at Anytime Fitness Glenelg. Now, George, behind us is this beautiful car, which is yours, of course. Talk to us more about the Toyota 86 Car Racing Series.
So the Toyota 86 Series is a production-based class, which is raced all around Australia, and there's say 40 of us. We actually race with a support category for the V8 supercars. So it's a production-based car. It's been supported by Toyota Australia, so Toyota Australia actually subsidise a lot of the financial costs for us, which makes it a massive difference because, you know, we race on Foxtel, you know, Channel 10. We get all of our races live, so someone has to subsidise those costs, and Toyota Australia, thankfully enough, have been willing to do that.
And talk to us about your career so far. A lot of the car drivers, racing car drivers, we see start off in go-karts, and then you know, I've spoken this year to Todd Hazelwood and Joel Heinrich, and they started in the go-karts and then move on to bigger and better things. What about yourself? What's been your journey so far?
Yeah, so I began in go-karts as well. I actually raced against Todd. Like, me and Todd, pretty good friends. We've known each other. We still keep in contact. So yeah, through the go-kart ranks, and then you make the transition into what we call circuit racing, which is your either your Formula Fords, your open wheelers, or we call these tin tops here in Australia. So for us, the transition was you go to Formula V, which was the next affordable step for us, which was a yellow open wheel looking thing. Made a couple of one-off events. We actually raced in the V8 Utes in 2016 at the Adelaide 500.
My favourite, I love the Utes.
They were a ball of fun. I missed those things. That was awesome. And then we also raced in Aussie racing cars, which are the little miniature cars that look like toy cars. So, and then now this is where we're at now.
Okay, so you've got the V8 supercars, which is the highest, and then you've got your Aussie Racing Car Series, which is what Joel Heinrich's in at the moment.
Yeah.
So talk to us about the 86 Racing Series. Where can you go from here, and where do you want to go in the future?
You know, for us, it depends on where we can find our sponsors and locate ourselves, and which door opens at the right time as well. But you can either head down, say, the supercar alley, which you've got Super 3, Super 2, and then you end up in the main game. Or you can go down, say, your GT class, where you can go do, you know, Challenge Cup, Porsche, and then you can try and get into the GT Australia, and that sort of opens a pathway to go internationally, you know, endurance racing, Le Mans, Spa and stuff like that. So the options are always there. There's always plenty of different pathways you can essentially go down, but it's really one of those things where, you know, you need to be at the right place at the right time, and you know, make sure you have the bag of cash behind you.
Yeah, it's all
You go race Bathurst and stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, it's all well and good, but you know, we've sacrificed a lot.
Yeah.
You know, we don't get to go out. We don't get to do this. We have to, you know, put all our money into here, and you know, we're always on a financial stretch. But it's something that we understand what situation we're putting ourselves in.
Yeah.
But it's because we enjoy, and we have the belief that one day that we can potentially get there.
I totally get it. So
You got to start somewhere. Like I said, we've been racing since we're 5 years old. Funnily enough, Plus IT actually came aboard as a minor sponsor last year. They're really big enthusiasts about their motorsport side of things, and the opportunity presented itself for them to come on board as a main sponsor, and yeah, all things went green light from there. So it's been an awesome start to the year, and an awesome opportunity to be able to represent, you know, this company.
And funding is obviously a real big part of racing car driving, because, you know, to get to the V8 supercars, you can't do it without money. So obviously having Plus IT is a real plus for you, pardon the pun.
Yeah, no, look, you know, the financial support has been one that's been a big difference, you know, big hurdle for us, especially this year. So, you know, we're always searching, because, you know, there's always different alleyways that the money can go, you know, development and stuff like that. But, you know, having the big, you know, the big major sponsor for the year, secure for the year, has been a massive, you know, monkey off our shoulders.
And last year you had a couple of pretty big Bengals in Sandown and Bathurst.
Yeah.
What happened there, George?
Well, I think it was just, I don't know, like, I can't even say that like I ran over a black cat, because I actually live with a black cat, so I didn't even know what to go there. But Sandown, unfortunately, was literally the last lap of the last race. it was a bit of tension on that it was a safety car restart, and I can't even say that I put myself in the wrong spot at the right time, and just someone's been pushed into the wall, ricocheted off the wall and hit my car. My car's been flying, and we're sitting 7th, so there's still 30 cars behind me, and they have to go somewhere. So they've all come in and cleaned me up. And then Bathurst as well was, there was only actually like 2 or 3 week turnaround from Sandown to Bathurst. So, with my small little team, the guys, we had a lot of hands on deck trying to get the car ready. So the Sandown crash, that Sunday lunchtime we had the crash, and then Sunday midnight we drove all the way from Melbourne and had the car on the hoist already, just trying to strip, because our time frame was so short. But then Bathurst as well, we rebuilt the car, everything like that. Bathurst race 1, I don't even know where to go with that one, because there was just cars going everywhere, and you're just trying to just make sure you don't hit anyone, and then there's a car that flies in front of you, and so but that's motorsport, you know what I mean? Like, you can go, all year we're doing so well, and then the last part of the year just was, one to forget, really.
Yeah, well, hopefully going forward things will get better for you, but at least got a couple of funny stories for the grandkids there anyway.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Like, we got so much TV time at Bathurst, which is ridiculous for us. Our sponsors are absolutely loving it. I think we got more TV time than the guys that were actually winning the race. So,
you do follow the V8 supercars for a few races during the year. Do you get a chance to chew the fat with the other drivers and get to know them pretty well? Yeah, so the good thing about motorsport is just like any other sport. You grow up with those that are, you grow up with that age group that eventually start to go through and progress. So, I'm good friends with, say, today's world, Anton Di Pasquale, familiar faces like Macaulay Jones, all of those, we all raced against each other at some point in our racing careers. The motorsport industry is just one big family, so everyone really tends to know each other. But because there's so many drivers involved, it's about becoming, the one that's familiarized the most. So, but yeah, I associate as much as I can with those drivers and try to, hang around them and learn from them as much as I could. And that was to my next question actually. Obviously, you're still learning to drive, and you don't have that sort of support that the V8 supercar drivers have. Do you have a mentor at all yourself, George? Or
I'd like to call my mentor. I'm not too sure if you'd like to call that, but I've actually gone up to Norwell up in Queensland with Paul Morris, and he's got an academy up there which he actually has allocated drivers, Declan Fraser and Luke Vanner, where he provides that sort of mentoring for them, the coaching. It's something that's never really been focused on in motorsport, but it's only come to presence over the last, say, 6 to 12 months, really. So I went up there for 2 days and learned a lot. I learned a lot about my driving. My own capabilities was something that I could get so far up ahead, but then to get to where those other guys, there's that step at the front which you call them like the elite, the ones that are actually doing really well, they're the ones that have been taught. So I feel I'd like to call Paul Morris my mentor. He's probably one of the people that I know that's had the most experience, and he could essentially guide you in the right direction. But apart from that, I've been doing these things, majority myself. Just thinking what's right. I love your attitude, mate. Let's hope, we can see the V8 supercars, all the other options, as you mentioned before, further down the track. This beautiful car behind us, obviously it takes a lot of work, and a lot of people must be in the team. How many in the team, and get a bit of banter between the boys? Oh, you have to have fun. There's about 8 of us, including myself, so there's about 8 of us. But yeah, look, the boys have a ball. I mean, there's so much time and effort that goes into everything. We really can't go there and not have fun. I think the fun aspect, if it's not there, you're not actually enjoying what we're doing. So we make sure we have the right people on board, and we generally, we do have a laugh. You look forward to going away because it's such a unique thing to do, and it's an experience that not many people get to actually appreciate. And now that we understand how difficult it is, we go away with the right mentality that despite how crap of a weekend you can have, you can still have a beer at the end of the weekend and have a good laugh. And you're doing what you love as well. That's the best part about it. So speaking of doing things that they love, I heard from a little birdie that Michael Schumacher was your idol growing up. Talk to us about that. Oh, Schumacher's just, I think, everyone's idol. He's one of the 7 world championships. He was that elite. He's just one of the best people in the world. I mean, if you had to compare him and Anton Senna, I reckon Anton could have almost emulated what he could have done. But because I think Anton was taken away at such a critical point in his career, I mean, in those times, Formula One was just, that death trap, really.
Yes.
But it was, Michael Schumacher, the way he went about things was something that, a lot of people undermine. They think that, Ferrari are obviously pocketing everything, trying to, they're giving him the right car to do it, but for example, you had someone else in probably the most identical car to him, and that still wasn't achievable to do the same thing. So it says a lot about him as it is.
Yeah, I reckon the Ayrton Senna movie is one of the best movies you could ever see. If you haven't seen that, watch that one for sure.
Yeah.
And finally, something that we spoke about off air as well. Obviously, funding's a big thing, and you mentioned before as well that sponsorship's a real key to be able to make you out the ladder with supercar racing. But you're actually an electrician. How the heck do you manage to be an electrician and fit being a driver in at the same time?
Well, the way I look at it is, if I worked for anyone else, I probably wouldn't have a job right now. So much time goes into these, building the cars, fixing the cars, making them service. So I'm actually an electrician for my old man. So we do a lot of solar, which is something that we turn over a lot. So I'm a second-year apprentice at the moment, and just chipping away at it. And like I said, if it wasn't for my boss being my old man, I probably would, not be employed right now.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, a big thank you to Anytime Fitness, our major sponsor now. Thank you to Terry as well, and to George Gutierrez. It's been a pleasure having you on Chewing the Fat and hearing your journey so far. Mate, all the very best.
No worries. Thank you very much.
Hopefully we'll see you in the V8 Supercars soon.
Thank you.
Take care. This is Chewing the Fat. See you, everyone.